Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
And I'm Tony. Great to have you with us again. Today we're going deep on a topic that I think confuses a lot of people: the difference between being rich and being wealthy.
And I mean really deep. Because this isn't just about money, it's about mindset, it's about psychology, it's about legacy, and it's about how the decisions you make today can shape your family's financial story for generations to come.
Two things that sound the same but are fundamentally different. And once you understand the distinction, it genuinely changes how you think about money, not just today, but for the long haul.
So we're going to cover this from two angles today. First, we're going to break down the psychological and mindset differences between being rich and being wealthy. Then we're going to zoom out and look at the generational picture. Because true wealth isn't just about you, it's about what you build and leave behind.
Let's start with mindset, because I think that's where everything begins. Mark, when you hear the phrase rich mindset, what comes to mind?
Honestly, I think of someone focused on making money fast, chasing the flashy lifestyle markers, big cars, expensive watches, always being seen at the right places. It's very present focused. Very one want it now.
That's exactly it. And it's not necessarily about intelligence or effort. People with a rich mindset can be incredibly talented, incredibly hardworking, but their relationship with money is about consumption. Money comes in and goes straight back out on things that show the world they've made it.
Whereas the wealthy mindset is completely different. It's about preservation and growth. Less, look what I bought, and more, look what I built.
And the time horizon is totally different. Rich mindset asks, how do I make more money quickly? Wealthy mindset asks, how do I make this last, not just for me, but for decades?
That shift in time horizon changes every financial decision you make. Let's use a concrete example. Say you get an unexpected $10,000 bonus. What does each mindset do with it?
Rich mindset says, let's celebrate. New trip, new gadgets, maybe a weekend away. Instant enjoyment, instant gratification. And look, there's nothing inherently wrong with enjoying your money, but if that's the default every single time, you never build anything.
Wealthy mindset thinks, how can I put this to work? Maybe it goes toward paying down high-interest debt, or into a diversified investment portfolio, or toward an asset that generates income, rental property, dividend stocks, a small business.
And those decisions might seem small in the moment, but compounded over years and decades, they create completely different financial outcomes. One person has a lot of great memories and not much to show for it financially. The other has assets that are quietly generating income while they sleep.
Let's talk about values, because I think that's the real foundation here. What do wealthy people actually value that rich people sometimes don't?
Security, legacy, freedom. The wealthy tend to be motivated by goals that go beyond instant pleasure. Money is a means to an end, to create opportunities for family, to fund causes they care about, to design a life with real freedom of choice.
Whereas the rich mindset can get caught up in status and external validation. Do people think I'm successful? Do I look the part? And that obsession with perception leads to dangerous financial behavior, overspending, lifestyle inflation, accumulating debt just to keep up appearances.
Lifestyle inflation is one of the most brutal wealth killers out there. You get a raise, so you upgrade the car. Get another raise, upgrade the house. Suddenly your entire lifestyle is calibrated to your peak income, and if anything disrupts that income, you have no cushion.
It's a hamster wheel. You're running fast but not getting anywhere financially. And a lot of very high earners are living this reality right now without realizing it.
There's actually a term for this: golden handcuffs. Your lifestyle is so expensive that you can't afford to leave the job that funds it, even if you hate it. That's the opposite of wealth. Wealth gives you options. Golden handcuffs take them away.
Let's talk about the psychological and emotional side of this. Because money isn't just math. There's a lot of emotion underneath it.
So much. People carry deep emotional baggage around money. Fear, guilt, shame, scarcity mindset, imposter syndrome. And a lot of that gets inherited from how money was talked about, or not talked about, in the family you grew up in.
If money was taboo or secretive growing up, you might develop limiting beliefs without even realizing it. I'm not good with money. Rich people are greedy. Money doesn't grow on trees. These stories live in the background of every financial decision you make.
The first step is becoming aware of those stories. You can't rewrite a script you don't know exists. And once you identify those inherited money beliefs, you can start challenging them and replacing them with something more useful.
A practice I love for this is journaling. Literally writing about your feelings and thoughts around money. It sounds simple, but it surfaces stuff that stays buried when you're just crunching numbers in a spreadsheet.
And gratitude practice is underrated here too. Grateful people tend to be better financial decision makers because they're not spending from a place of scarcity or anxiety. They're operating from abundance, which, interestingly, attracts more abundance.
Now let's talk about how wealthy mindset handles setbacks, because this is where the rubber really meets the road.
Rich mindset often falls into victim mode after financial setbacks. I had bad luck. The market was unfair. Nobody told me this would happen. There's an external locus of control. The blame goes outward.
Wealthy mindset sees failure completely differently. It's data. It's a lesson. You lost money on an investment? What can you learn from that to invest better next time? A business idea flopped? What did it teach you about the market or your own execution?
That growth mindset, the belief that intelligence and capability can be developed through effort and learning, is fundamental to building lasting wealth. Without it, you never develop the resilience to weather the inevitable setbacks.
My friend used to say, the wealthy don't fear failure, they fear regret. And I think that's exactly right. The fear of missing an opportunity to build something meaningful outweighs the fear of a temporary setback.
Let's also talk about social influence, because your environment shapes your mindset more than most people realize.
This is huge. If you're surrounded by people who are constantly showing off purchases, who measure success by possessions, who equate spending with celebration, you will unconsciously absorb those values. Mindset is contagious.
The wealthy tend to build communities and relationships around shared values of growth, education, and long-term thinking. They seek out mentors who have built what they want to build. They read, they attend events, they invest in their own financial education as seriously as they invest money.
So changing your financial trajectory often requires changing who you listen to and who you spend time with. That's not about being snobby, it's about being intentional with your influences.
And speaking of education, financial literacy is one of the biggest predictors of wealth building, and it's also one of the most neglected. People spend years learning their profession, but almost no time learning how money actually works.
Things like compound interest, tax strategy, asset allocation, estate planning. This knowledge isn't complicated, but it's also not taught in most schools. And that gap keeps a lot of people stuck earning well, but never building.
The wealthy see financial education as an ongoing investment, not a one-time event. They're constantly learning, reading books, listening to podcasts, consulting advisors, staying current on tax law and market dynamics.
Let's shift now to the second big lens for today, the generational picture. Because everything we've talked about so far is about you. But wealth, real wealth, is about more than you.
This is where the conversation gets really meaningful for me. Rich is about today's lifestyle. Wealthy is about tomorrow's legacy. And that distinction changes everything about how you make decisions.
Think about it this way. A rich person and a wealthy person might have the same net worth at any given moment. But the rich person's wealth is fragile. It depends on their continued income, their continued health, their continued employment. Take away the paycheck and the lifestyle collapses.
The wealthy person has built structures that continue generating value independent of their personal effort. Investments, businesses, real estate, intellectual property, assets that compound and grow whether they're working or not.
And beyond their own lifetime, the wealthy think about succession. Who inherits this? How is it managed? How do we make sure the next generation is equipped to handle it responsibly rather than squander it?
There's an old saying, shirt sleeves to shirt sleeves, in 3 generations. The first generation builds wealth from scratch. The second generation enjoys it. The third generation loses it because the knowledge and discipline that created the wealth weren't passed down alongside the money.
And that pattern repeats across cultures and throughout history. It's not about intelligence or even values, it's about systems. Wealthy families that endure create formal systems for how money is managed, discussed, and transferred.
Things like family governance structures, where there are clear processes for making financial decisions as a family, or family constitutions that articulate shared values, goals, and responsibilities around wealth, or regular family meetings where financial matters are discussed openly across generations.
That openness is so important and so countercultural. Most families treat money as a taboo subject. Nobody talks about how much anyone earns, what the estate plan looks like, how the inheritance will be handled, and that silence breeds confusion, conflict, and ultimately loss of wealth.
Whereas wealthy families, the ones whose wealth actually lasts, create financial transparency as a cultural norm. Kids grow up learning about money, understanding how investments work, knowing what the family's values are around wealth and giving.
It's like handing someone the keys to a luxury car. If they've never been taught to drive, those keys are actually dangerous. But teach them to drive, give them respect for the vehicle and what it represents, and now you've genuinely given them something valuable.
Financial education within the family isn't just a nice to have, it's the actual transmission mechanism for generational wealth. Without it, the money might transfer, but the wealth, the understanding, the capability, the discipline doesn't.
Let's talk about the psychological weight that comes with managing generational wealth, because it's not all upside. There's real pressure.
Absolutely. When you're managing wealth that isn't just yours, that belongs to your children, your grandchildren, future generations you'll never meet, the stakes feel completely different. A bad decision isn't just a personal setback. It potentially affects people who don't even exist yet.
That sense of stewardship can be incredibly motivating, but it can also be paralyzing if you don't have the right support structures around you.
Which is why truly wealthy families invest heavily in advisors, estate attorneys, financial planners, tax strategists, family governance consultants. It's a team sport at that level, not a solo effort.
And it's not just about technical expertise. It's about building relationships with advisors who understand your values, your vision for the family, and your long-term goals beyond just the numbers.
Let's talk about philanthropy, because this is another place where wealthy mindset really distinguishes itself.
For wealthy families, giving isn't just a tax strategy, though it is that too. It's a values expression. It's how they make meaning beyond accumulation. It teaches the next generation that wealth carries responsibility, that resources are meant to be used for impact, not just preserved.
And interestingly, families that incorporate philanthropic giving into their culture often see it strengthen their cohesion. There's a shared mission beyond just growing the pie. There's a conversation about what kind of impact do we want to have in the world?
That question, what kind of impact do we want to have, is one of the most powerful questions a family can answer together, because it gives the wealth a purpose that transcends any individual member.
Let's address something practical here, because I know some listeners are thinking, this all sounds great, but generational wealth seems like something for people who already have millions. I'm still building from scratch.
That's such an important point. The principles of generational wealth aren't exclusive to billionaires. The behaviors and mindsets we're talking about, financial education, consistent saving and investing, open family communication about money, long-term planning, these are accessible at every income level.
A teacher earning $60,000 a year who starts investing consistently, who teaches their kids about money, who plans their estate and sets up a simple trust, that person is building generational wealth. The scale is different, but the principles are identical.
The earlier you start, the more powerful it becomes. Compound interest is the great equalizer. It rewards patience and consistency more than it rewards starting with a large sum.
And the mindset shifts are available to anyone. You don't need $1 million to start thinking in decades instead of months. You don't need a trust fund to start having honest conversations with your family about money.
Let's also touch on how external forces, economic recessions, inflation, tax law changes, market downturns, affect all of this, because even the best plans can get disrupted.
And this is where adaptability becomes a critical wealth skill. Wealthy families don't just create a plan and set it in stone. They build plans that are designed to evolve with clear processes for revisiting and updating decisions as circumstances change.
Psychological resilience plays a huge role here too. Families that can stay calm, stay focused on the long view, and avoid emotional decision-making during downturns are far more likely to preserve and even grow wealth through difficult periods.
Because the biggest financial mistakes are usually made in moments of fear or panic. Selling investments at the bottom, taking on debt to maintain a lifestyle during a lean period, making impulsive decisions because the discomfort of uncertainty feels unbearable.
Wealthy mindset trains itself to see those moments differently. A market downturn isn't a disaster. It's an opportunity to buy quality assets at a discount. A difficult period isn't a sign that the plan is broken. It's a stress test that reveals where the plan needs adjustment.
One more thing I want to make sure we cover: the role that gender and diverse perspectives play in wealth building and management.
Yes. Historically, financial decision-making in families was concentrated in the hands of a very small group, often one person, often male, and that concentration is both a vulnerability and a missed opportunity.
It's a vulnerability because it creates a single point of failure. What happens to the family's financial management if that person is incapacitated or passes away? And it's a missed opportunity because diverse perspectives, different risk tolerances, different priorities, different life experiences make better decisions than any one person alone.
The most resilient wealthy families are ones where financial knowledge, responsibility, and decision-making are distributed broadly across the family, where everyone has a role, a voice, and a stake in the outcome.
Okay, let's bring this home with some very practical takeaways. If someone is listening to this and thinking, I want to start shifting from a rich mindset to a wealthy mindset, and I want to start building something that lasts, what do they do first?
First, audit your relationship with money. Be honest about the stories you carry, the emotions that drive your decisions, and the habits you've built around spending and saving. This is the foundation everything else rests on.
Second, start thinking in longer time horizons. When you're about to make a financial decision, ask, how does this choice affect me in 10 years? In 20? What does this decision say about my values?
Third, commit to financial education as a lifelong practice. Read at least one book on personal finance or investing per quarter. Listen to podcasts. Find a financial advisor you trust and have real conversations about your goals.
Fourth, create multiple streams of income. Employment is one stream, but it's fragile. Start exploring what else can generate income. Investments, side projects, rental income, dividend stocks. Diversification is the cornerstone of durable wealth.
Fifth, control lifestyle inflation ruthlessly. Every time your income increases, resist the automatic urge to upgrade your lifestyle proportionally. Funnel a meaningful portion of every raise or windfall into wealth building before you touch it for spending.
Sixth, start the family conversation. If you have a partner or children, begin talking openly about money, not just budgets and bills, but values. What matters to us? What do we want to build together? What do we want to leave behind?
Seventh, think about legacy now, not later. You don't need to be 60 to start estate planning or to start thinking about what you want your financial story to look like across generations. The earlier you get intentional about this, the more options you have.
And finally, be patient. Wealth is not a sprint. It's not a viral moment or a single big break. It's the result of hundreds and thousands of small, consistent, intentional decisions made over years and decades. The compound effect of those decisions is genuinely staggering, but only if you give it time.
Tony, what's your single biggest takeaway from everything we've covered today?
For me, it's this: wealth is about who you become, not just what you accumulate. The mindset, the values, the discipline, the vision, those are the real assets. The money is just the reflection of them.
I love that. For me, it's the generational lens. The idea that every financial decision I make today is a statement about what I believe the future can look like, not just for me, but for the people who come after me. That makes every decision feel more meaningful.
And more motivating, because you're not just building for yourself, you're building for something that outlasts you.
Before we go, here's our question for you. What is one change, in mindset, in habit, or in behavior, that you could make this week to start moving from rich to truly wealthy? And what legacy do you want your financial story to leave behind?
Drop your answers in the comments. We genuinely read them, and we love hearing where you are in your journey.
Thanks so much for spending this time with us today. This was a big one, but an important one. Take care of yourselves, keep building, and we'll see you next time.
See you all soon.